Take four. Good morning, everyone. Fed League Flash time, and it is Saturday, so we are doing game reviews and just to catch up with new followers, new people who are on this channel. Um, 6 games last night, so I have 3 devices. I watched 3 games. The other 3, I'll kind of quickly cut into just to kind of check how things are going, and we highlight them. So these are the highlights, and then we'll get into depth with the other 3 goals. Also showing off my very generic, intentionally generic jersey on the back. Instead of my name, it literally says my name. So yeah, it's a fun conversation starter. Okay, so first game last night, the Hudson Valley Venom hosting the Binghamton Black Bears. These two teams, this is the 3rd time they're meeting, and first game was just a wild west. Everybody scores kind of game. Second game was a one-sided shutout, and now we have a shootout. All victories by the Black Bears. 5-4 last night in Hudson Valley. This is the concerning statistic here. And I know that the attendance was almost fully comprised of fans from Binghamton and Danbury. So anyone who is watching from the Hudson Valley area, please go and support your team. Go watch these guys. It's fun. It's a great time to be had by everyone. You're missing out. Please go to the games. A public service message from the Fed League Flash. All right, so last night, Binghamton takes an early lead. It was 17-4 as far as shots in the first period, and then Hudson Valley ended up kind of evening the balance, evening the scales a little bit, even took the lead for a brief time in the third period. A late goal ties it up by the Black Bears, and we get to a shootout. And a round of 3 shooters. Only one put the puck in the net. That was Cam Clark, and that was your game winner. Connor McAnanima, the goalie for the Black Bears, he stops 26 of 30. John Moriarty stops 38 of 42, and then that one puck got by him in the shootout. Again, guys, please support the team. It's very entertaining, very good hockey, and you got to go to see it. Once you go, you'll be hooked. I know it's a new team and all, but anyway. Okay, so that was the first game. Yeah, Binghamton improves to 6-1-0 on the year, and Hudson Valley now falls to 1-3-1. It's weird. I can pick them. I pick a schedule. I'll go through a schedule as far as, okay, these are the 3 games I'm going to watch and report on. And the other 3 games, again, I kind of check in. And, the 3 games that I didn't have on my devices, they're the ones that I'll go to extra time. So, we go to Watertown, where the Danbury Hat-Tricks and Watertown Wolves face off. And this was really an excellent game. I did check in a couple times and watch 2 minutes here and 2 minutes there. Really, really good game. It was a high-quality game. And defensive battle, a good goaltending battle between Frankie McClendon for the Hat-Tricks and Anton Borodkin, who is playing his 6th straight game for the Wolves. And so it goes to extra time, and a beautiful shot, a snapshot right low blocker side past Frankie McClendon. Gets the game won by Carter Thornton at 3:13 of overtime. And this was a 3-2 game. Shots were 35 for Wolves, 33 for the Hat-Tricks. Again, a very entertaining game. Now you're looking at this number. Yes. Yeah, that's average for this time of year in Watertown. The Watertown Arena is small and only seats about 1,500 people. Um, and the crowds really don't start filling the building until about Christmas time, and then it really gets wild in the Watertown Municipal Arena. So yeah, Watertown now 5-1-1 on the season, and Danbury falls to 2-1-2. All right, so the final game that went to overtime was the Blue Ridge Bobcats and the Carolina Thunderbirds. Um, Only 91 miles separating these two teams, and very, very entertaining game. Again, it goes down to the wire, and pardon me a second. Sorry, had to deal with a whiny cat. Okay, these two teams, Carolina had the majority of the success last year. Of course, Blue Ridge being a first year team, you know, you're going to struggle a little bit. So in the 14 meetings between the two teams last year, Carolina won 13, but the Bobcats won the last one. And then so far, this is the third meeting between the two teams, and the Bobcats have taken 2 of 3. So this is going to be a really good rivalry for the long term, and great games. 29-10 in attendance for this one. Yeah, the Bobcats end up tying it up late after Carolina had gone ahead on a goal by John Butita. I saw that. Um, beautiful shot. Past goaltender Greg Hussey, who was making his Bobcats debut. Um, and then late in the game, the Bobcats tie it up, and then we get into overtime. And yeah, this was the key, though. We had things getting a little chippy right at the end of the regulation time. Gus Ford gets called for a slash as time expires in the third period. So the Bobcats go on the power play for overtime, and 38 seconds in, it's Vladislav Vlasov scoring the game winner. Vlasov would have 2 goals in the game, uh, as did Sava Smirnov, who had just come down from the SP. So, yeah, really good game. And now we have a win by Hussey in a Blue Ridge uniform. Uh, he saved 35 of 39. And Boris Babic saved 29 of 34 for the Carolina Thunderbirds. Blue Ridge is now 2-2-1, and the Carolina Thunderbirds are now 2-1-2. Yeah, this was a game of momentum swings, and as I was watching the stats and again checking in a couple times, I was like, wow. So let's change boards. Yeah, I don't have to do the pause this time. I just all right, so here are the 3 games that I did delve into and watch in its entirety. Motor City Rockers taking on the Port Huron Prowlers. These games are always fun games for the fans. These two teams only separated by 49 miles. And yeah, so good crowd on hand for McMorran Place. And yeah, we had a very lopsided game. A big concern of mine for the Rockers is now, as you see, I have the shots and goal in parentheses. In their 5 games now, Motor City is averaging 54 shots against, and that's too much. It is not a formula that's going to win you a lot of games. So, Motor City, we'll see if they can figure things out. It's a 5-1 win by the Prowlers. First period, really not much going on. Very early going. First 2 minutes, 53 seconds. The shots were 2-2. And then Motor City would not generate another shot on goal for 17 minutes and 7 seconds. Or 5 seconds, excuse me. Yeah, the ice was very tilted in the Prowlers' favor. The puck possession was almost entirely Port Huron. And what do you want? So, grumpy cat. Anyway, All right. Nothing like having a 4-year-old toddler, the furry variety. Okay, so after that scoreless period passed because Port Huron didn't get the puck past Ricky Gonzalez in the opening period, then the ice really became increasingly tilted. Port Huron began chipping in on their chances, and at 2:16 of the second period, Dan Chartrand gets a puck past Ricardo Gonzalez, breaks a scoreless tie, and it's 1-0. And from there on, it was Prowlers, Prowlers, Prowlers. 7:56. This was interesting. Port Huron thinks they score a goal. Immediately, their arms go up in celebration. Yeah, we scored. The referee right behind the goal. Nope, no goal. That's the official call. And Port Huron, they do the team hug. They do the skate by the bench. The fist bumps, the whole 9 yards. And then they say to the officials, we want to challenge it. We want to say, yeah, that was a good goal. So goal review, and the verdict is no goal. So as a result, Port Huron is penalized a delay of game penalty, a 2-minute minor. That is the result of if you fail on a challenge. So that was interesting. That was the first time that's happened this year in the Fed with the new goal review system they have. So 2 minutes to serve, Port Huron kills it. No harm, no foul. All right. Later in the second, it's Tucker Scantlebury scoring at 14:54. Just went top shelf, popped the bottle off the back of the cage, and now it is 2-0. Meanwhile, Valtteri Nusiainen for the Prowlers. Now he's finally starting to get some shots, and he's making the saves. So we get to 17:29. It's Lucas Lackney. He scores, just tucks a puck home that's kind of sitting there on the doorstep. It's 3-0. And I made a note here. Motor City was just way too timid in their defensive zone, just kind of standing around. Not a lot of skating, not a lot of foot movement. And so even though you got 5 players out there, it's kind of like the other teams on a power play. That's something that the Rockers need to address for future games. All right, we get to the third, and now frustrations are starting to spill over. We're seeing some pushing and shoving and some words and some personal exchanges, some high elbows, all that kind of stuff. But the referees let most of it go. They said, okay, there's no major infraction here. We're just going to kind of let the players play it out. I like those games. I like that kind of game. As long as things don't get out of control, and they didn't. All right, so third period, 10:43. It's Awesome Federally making it a 4-0 game. Just a big defensive collapse. It puts the puck home. Finally, at 15:45, there is some success for the Rockers as Eli Rivers breaks up the shutout, gets a puck past Nusiainen. It's now 4-1. Unfortunately, too little, too late. And then at 17:10, this was the facepalm moment of the game. Mike Wynn ends up trying to throw a headbutt at Lockhart for the Prowlers, and earns himself an ejection. And I'm sure that he will probably end up being suspended as a result. Don't do that. Don't do the headbutt thing. It doesn't bode well. 18:01 on the power play. Lucas Lackney scores, and it's 5-1. That's final score. Rivers with the sole goal for the Rockers. Gonzalez stops 51 of 56. You can't pin the loss on him. Lucas Lackney, 2 goals and 2 assists on the night. He was quite the find for the Prowlers. And federally, he had a goal and 2 assists. Nusiainen stops 26 of 27 for the win. Port Huron improves to 2-2-1, while Motor City falls to 2-3 on the year. All right, in Columbus, there we go. Simba is Mr. Zero. If you don't know, Simba is a nickname of goaltender Sammy Bernard for the Columbus River Dragons. He posts his second consecutive donut. Yeah, Columbus jumped out early and often, as some people like to say. It's Alexander Jemayev scoring on the very first rush of the game, 22 seconds in, and it's already 1-0, and that's the game winner. Uh, Jemayev does score again at 9:52 of the first period. The ice was pretty slanted in that first period. Shots were 13-6 in favor of Columbus. As Trevor Roy, he was doing his darndest to keep Mississippi in this in goal, and it just wasn't enough. Second period, we had an early goal again. All three periods, Columbus scored very early in the game, or in the period, rather. Jordan Popoff, he scores 150. And then at 19 minutes, Connor Lind scores on a power play. There had been a 4-minute high-sticking double minor to Noah Hippolyte-Smith for the Seawolves. And so first power play opportunity, Connor Lind scores. We go to the second power play opportunity. After a minute, the period ends, so the teams skate off. Shots at this point are 21-13 in favor of Columbus. So yeah, not a whole lot of action that Sammy Bernard is getting. But he would make the saves that he had to. In the third period, Mississippi ended up getting some better chances. So Bernard in the third period had to work for his shutout. There were really 3 high-quality saves made by Bernard. Meanwhile, Stephen Klink scores at 33 seconds on the back end of that double minor that we talked about just a little bit ago. There you go. It's 5-0. Bernard shuts the door. 120 minutes consecutive of shutout time now for the for Bernard, and I believe I'm gonna have to go through records, but I believe that is the first time a goaltender has gotten back-to-back shutouts in the Fed. I'll have to check that out. Mississippi 1-3-1 now on the season, 22 shots on goal for the game, and Columbus 28 shots, which still is kind of low for them. They're a high offensive powered machine. They improved to 3-0 as this was the first game in which their offense got rolling. 5-0 win for Columbus there. And then finally, we go down to the Bayou, and it's 2 new teams facing off against each other. Well, brand new and 1-year-old. The Dashers come in, and Baton Rouge, I've talked about them the last couple of times. I've been concerned about their very young and overall inexperienced defense. These guys are proving me wrong. They are pretty good. They're a pretty good defensive unit. And so the Dashers have a hard time cracking that nut, come out in the short end. Baton Rouge is looking really good on this part of the season. Not a great crowd, but with high school football and college football, you're going to have that in Louisiana. Crowd of 2240. Oscar Walgren starts in goal for the Dashers. Brennan Colgan starts in goal for the Zydeco. And Colgan's got himself a shutout on the year, too. Anyway, it wasn't this game, though. Okay, in the first period, Matt Gordon, he gets on the board at 3:26, puts the Zydeco up. And, shots were pretty uneven in that first period, 12-4 in favor of the Zydeco. They were dictating the play. If they didn't have the puck, they were clogging lanes and breaking up pass attempts and whatnot by the Dashers. Dashers just really weren't able to get much going in that first period until 11:20. It's Yegor Kabatayev. Yeah, say that 3 times fast. He's an exciting player. If you haven't seen the Dashes yet, watch out for Yegor Kabatayev. He really, really is a spark plug. He's just one of these high energy guys, and he figures out ways of scoring. He gets the game evening goal at that point, 11-20, and it's 1-1. But not to be outdone, Brody Thornton from the Zydeco, he scores on a beautiful shot right off the faceoff. It was a designed faceoff win. Draw back, snap, bam. There we go. Brody Thornton cashes in. It's 2-1 Zydeco at this point. At the end of one in the second period, not a lot of goal scoring happening, but the Zydeco is still controlling play. They're out shooting the Dashers 2-1 throughout the course of the period. So yeah, final shots in the second period were 18-9. Shane Haggerty scores on a power play at 19:26. So Oscar Wahlgren gave the Dashers a chance to win, but Haggerty would score what would be the game winner late in the second. And then in the third period, it's Alexanian scoring for the Zydeco. It's 4-1 now, and so the game's pretty much kind of out of reach. But the Dashers didn't quit. They kept going. They kept plugging away. Finally, on a delayed penalty call, Thomas Murphy, he scores for the Dashers right at the 10-minute mark. That makes it 4-2, and that's how we would end. Of course, because Murphy scored on a delayed penalty, that was it. The penalty's washed out because it's kind of like a power play. The extra attacker was on. Again, shots were doubled. For the game, it was 46-21 in favor of the Zydeco. Dashers just really kind of struggled in their offensive zone. Didn't play bad defensively, even though they did surrender a lot of shots. A good amount of those chances were just kind of benign shots, but the Zydeco scored when it mattered and come away with a 4-2 win. So the Zydeco are 4-1-1. Believe it or not. Dashers fall to 1-4. It's going to be a rough year. They're going to go through some growing pains, but I've seen indications that the Dashers can play exciting hockey in spurts. So, you never know when they might pull off another big win like they did last week. So there we go. That is our wrap up for the weekend. So Colgan gets the win for the Zydeco, stopping 19-21. And the Wahlgren stopped 42-46. Hadn't mentioned that because I like goalies. All right, so there we go. Let me know down below what you think about the games by your favorite team. Were you happy? Were you not? How do you feel about your favorite team at this stage of the season? Got a long way to go, but it's looking really interesting. It's not going to be a dull year. All right, I am Gary Ryan for the Fed League Flash. We'll be back tomorrow with a full slate of 7 games. So I'm going to be highlighting 4, watching 3, and we'll break it all down. All right, have a great day, everyone, and we'll catch you tomorrow.